Welcome to Morning Glory Farmstead. My name is Lolly, and this channel is all about gardening, animals, and nature. Beautiful, even after the scalding heat all day. You guys, the word survivalist usually refers to a person, but I have noticed on my property and throughout the world that nature overall and people are in survivalist mode. There's a lot of things going on, but I just wanted to remind everybody that I have thriving survivalists all over my property, whether it's animals, food that's growing, flowers that are growing, myself, my rescues, the birds that are beating the odds, the volunteer plants that pop up in this clay with no help at all. Everything is in survival mode, but just remember that some of these things are absolutely thriving. So I like to call them thriving survivalists. In my brain, I came up with the word thrivalist, and I thought I was so clever until I looked online and found that an organization had already taken it. Ugh, so devastated. I still like the word thrivalist though. 1 in every 3 birds survives, but you can see here with the predator-proof hole and this house that these birds are absolutely thriving. These are the tree swallows, and I want to check on the babies. You can see the parents are really agitated. And in general, I don't just go around messing with the boxes, but I just like to share a little bit if I can. So I do it quickly, and then I get out and look at these feathers and these tiny little babies, you guys. Look at all those feathers. They are massive. You guys, it's amazing how all of the nests that I'm showing you are different from one another, and there's so much strategy and care that is given to the building of these nests. I just find it so fascinating and just realize how caring these bird parents really are. If you're new to my channel, there is a code and a link in the description box that you can use to get $10 off your GreenStalk order, and that is even on top of their sale prices. All right, here's the 6 GreenStalks I have going right now. You guys know I have 17 tiers still going to seed. I also have another GreenStalk that has the garlic that's left in it. And despite some of the problems I have, these are still producing, and for the most part, they're looking pretty good. So I'm going to keep my hopes up for these. Okay, y'all see how far away this is from the house? Ooh, all the way down that tree line. Keeps on going. I'm in the car. I'm just getting home because I had to run to Lowe's to get some stuff for this shade project. And look over there. Y'all see that chicken? Oh, that's not good. I have a few escape artists, which really is my fault. It means I need to do better, but it's taken some time. But that right there is not okay because she's heading out towards the street. And I saw a fox here last week, so I'm gonna have to go chase her in. That's some serious free ranging, y'all. Hey girl, do y'all see how hazy this is? Or is it just me? Because I feel like it's getting hazier and hazier every day. Hey girl. Hey girls is what I say when I'm about to give them a treat. So I was hoping she would come running to me if I said that. Go on. You're not supposed to be over here. Y'all, I just love watching them run. It is so cute how fast they can go. Y'all, I have learned that if I eat organic and stay away from pesticides and chemicals and preservatives, that I have way less infections. What do y'all think about this right here? Right next door to me. That's right outside my fence. Please tell me he's spraying organic fertilizer. How about that? You know, in regards to thriving, I think that thriving for each one of us looks a little bit different. But between myself having cancer and now horrible residual effects for the rest of my life, I consider myself a survivalist, but I'm thriving in spirit more than anything. I've got a beautiful tomato plant and lettuce growing in the clay that have just volunteered. And I've got all these flowers growing out front without any good soil or potting mix. Nothing but clay. And I found a new thriving survivalist that I'm about to share with y'all in just a few minutes. All right, Pigeon is back and she has moved in even closer. You can see her feet there. They're actually coming into the window ledge a little bit more. Dad has saved the day by bringing some Costco grapes. So I literally cut up one, maybe two at a time for her. They're very large and I just give her those little bites and she absolutely loves them. So I would say she's thriving too. You want more? You want more? That's enough, Pigeon. That's enough. We'll come back later, okay? We haven't even hit the heat of summer yet, and these chickens are already mouths open half the time today and trying to get up under the tables and the coops and everywhere. And some of them are staying inside the run trying to stay cool. All right, here is a peek at the sunflowers. Most of them are doing really well. You're gonna hear the mockingbird in the background. She's actually doing two things. She's letting me know that I need to stay away from her baby and also letting her baby know where she is. So the call that you hear is what she uses to make sure that her baby is there. And she's got one that's just recently out of the nest the last day or two. So you guys may remember that I decided to do a flower garden. And so this is just one of the rows, but I'm showing you this one because they're just the easiest to see. These are those 3 varieties of sunflowers that I'm growing to hopefully help feed the birds because y'all, birdseed is expensive. And if these get big enough, there should be probably, 100, 200 seeds on each head. I've never grown these specific varieties before, but I'm really excited. And remember, all I did was till up the clay a little bit with that crazy tiller that was too small for the job, threw those seeds down and just left them. So no fertilizer. I didn't even cover them back up with dirt. I just kind of brushed a little bit of the loose grass that I had tilled up over it, and that was it, y'all. The rest was just the rain kind of washing it down in there. I love looking out in the morning and the sunflowers are facing the right, and then by the end of the day they're facing the left because they're following the sun. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like a sunflower dance. And speaking of following the sun, that is exactly what's going on here with my railing planters. You can see here that the leaves are completely facing forward towards the front yard, trying to get to that sunlight. Every single one of these boxes is reaching toward the sunlight, but they're not too leggy. I think they'll be just fine. Considering how much shade they're getting, I think they're actually doing really well. It's definitely time for me to start eating at least some of these. All right, y'all, I have been over at the GreenStalk Garden Patio, and y'all know if you've watched my videos, there is a wren's nest with 4 eggs inside my beanstalk, and she's over in this little tree here in total panic mode. I'm gonna come around here and see if I can find her so I can show you, but you can hear her panic. She is really worried that I'm gonna do something to her eggs. Oh. Y'all hear that? This isn't the greatest footage, but I just wanted y'all to see. She's making a lot of noise and she is really upset thinking I'm messing with her eggs. Okay, y'all, I've just been humoring myself and seeing how big this is going to get, but I'm actually taking off all of the outside leaves today to give it to the chickens. But only clay, a total volunteer, and not as much sunlight. I'm not watering it, and it's totally thriving. All right, y'all, I've got a surprise for you down in the burn bin. I was looking out the window the other day and I was like, what in the world is going on? I didn't know if an animal had crawled in there or what, but then I saw that it was green and I was like, What in the world? I had just done a fire in there like 2 weeks ago to get rid of some stuff, and now there's something growing in there. And I call my dad and I'm like, what in the world? He goes, oh, I threw some pumpkin seeds in there. So y'all, I've got a pumpkin growing. I don't know how much it's actually gonna do, but let me show you what's going on in here. Now I already see powdery mildew, so I'm not sure if that one is gonna make it because you're supposed to catch that pretty early on. So we'll just have to see. It looks like the left side's got all the powdery mildew and that the right side is doing okay. But y'all, look how big this thing is. In a burn bin. Lots of little buds down in there. Have any of y'all ever tried the milk and water mixture that you can spray? It's one of the ways that you can organically treat this. I'm just wondering if it actually works. And you just spray the top and the bottom of the leaves really good frequently to get rid of that powdery mildew. I'd love to know if somebody's actually done that and if it works. Because y'all know I stay away from anything that ends with side. Okay, that's probably too extreme. My brain is trying to think of words that end in side that I don't stay away from. But I try to stay away from pesticides, fungicides, all that stuff. I always wanted a pumpkin patch, y'all. I didn't think I had enough room, but boy, this kind of makes me reevaluate things. Well, y'all, so much for burning anything anytime soon. And y'all know I'd already showed you in another video, I'm backed up on stuff that needs to be burned. But it looks like it's not going to happen because I'm going to have to wait and see what happens with my pumpkin patch. So that is the burn bin pumpkin patch. More to come. All right, let's head back up there and see what we can do with these green stalks. So the other day when I came out here to do a cleanup on all 6 of these green stalks, it was way too hot. And that is a huge issue, not only with the fact that I was being scorched through my clothes, but you guys know I have lymphedema and I get serious infections and I get really, really sick. And it's not a pity party. I'm just explaining that I'm not even allowed to take a hot bath or a very warm bath because it'll set off an infection and the swelling is way worse on the left side of my body. And standing in the heat is even worse than sitting in a hot bath because I can actually feel my skin burning. So that definitely sets off the lymphedema. So as these summers are getting hotter and hotter, I have to be even more and more careful. But what I decided to do was just think things through a little bit, do a little bit more research about nitrogen, look at some of the supplies that I have, and I decided to do another experiment. So I'm going to use the one that has the leaf miners and that has been really having a difficult time. And I'm going to use 3 pockets of spinach, 3 pockets of chijimicai, and 3 pockets of kale. And I'm going to try 3 different fertilizers that all have nitrogen, and I want to see which one does better. I want to see if it helps with the yellow color, or is it going to make it worse? Y'all know that sometimes too much nitrogen can cause the discoloring of the leaves as well. Even if this was the potting mix that I made, there shouldn't be too much nitrogen. So I have a feeling that it's either some kind of disease or fungus or not enough nitrogen. So I'm just going to do an experiment. And I'm also going to have some pockets that don't have any nitrogen added. So since this one is kind of going to pot anyway, this is just a great one to do an experiment on. All right, so I'm going to use blood meal, worm castings, and a fertilizer that is an NPK of 222. So it's just equal amounts of potassium, phosphorus, and nitrogen. And we'll just kind of see how this goes. I've typically just used worm castings on almost everything, and that's worked really well for me. And so this will be kind of new, trying the blood meal and the fertilizer for these. By doing this, I'll be able to tell if one makes more difference than another or if they're all about the same and I can't tell any difference at all. Because things flow from one tier to another, I want to do my best to line up the fertilizer. So 1, 2, 3 top to bottom, and then 3 top to bottom for the worm castings and 3 more for the blood meal. So they're a little bit offset, but hopefully when the water flows through, it's going to be pretty close. Because what I don't want to happen is for worm castings to flow down into the blood meal, because that's really going to skew the results and I won't be able to tell what's doing what. So I'm lining them up as close as I can. So I've got 1 on the top, 1 right to the right of that on the next one down, and then 1 to the left on the bottom. So I'm putting all of my labels in. So worm castings, there's going to be 3 right there in a row, right underneath each other. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the blood meal. I realize that the humbutter has a lot of wildflowers, but I think I'm just going to add nitrogen for now and see how that does, because a lot of those are pale green as well. And I'm certainly not the expert, but I feel like because some of them are so tiny, I don't want to put any really heavy fertilizers on them yet. So I'll give them a little bit longer, and then I may add something else that's more for flowering. So I'm just going to add the worm castings. Now on the beanstalk, I'm not going to be adding anything. Xana, you told me it was a nitrogen fixer, and I hadn't heard that before, but what was funny is that as soon as I started looking up information on nitrogen, I saw those very words that the beans are nitrogen fixers. So I won't be doing anything to that. Everything I read about nitrogen in the past was just how it can make your leafy greens much healthier, but if you have flowering plants, if you've got fruits and things like that, that if you add too much nitrogen, the leaves may be super green, but then you have really small fruit. Now for the box stalk that has just the leafy greens, I'm definitely going to do worm castings on this one. I think I'm going to hold off on fertilizing the tomato plants because I actually think I have a fertilizer that is specific to tomato plants, I think. So I'm going to check before I do anything else. And then if I can't find it, then I'll just add the other fertilizer that I have. Y'all, the sun is really bright and we're on an air quality alert today and everything just looks so hazy. But here you can see the fertilizer. That's the one that is the 222. So I'm adding that to the chijimi side, the spinach, and the kale. That's just to kind of show you what it looks like. This is the blood meal, and it doesn't take very much at all. So I'm just going to kind of divvy that up between the 3 pockets. It does say you shouldn't be touching your hands with a blood meal, so I'm just kind of using this shovel and very carefully placing it in there just because I don't have my gloves right here with me. And lastly, I'm doing the worm castings. All right, I'm going to give it a good spray and get that washed down in the potting mix just a little bit. All right, so I'm going to finish adding some nitrogen to everything here except for the tomatoes. And then I'm also going to add some to the leafy greens that are in my grow bags. But let's move on to my idea for adding a little bit of shade on this garden patio. All right, guys, this is my DIY, and this is a lower budget DIY, obviously. For those of you who have better health, more muscles, and a lot more money, I am sure that you would do something different. But I'm taking this multi-purpose coated wire, not in love with the color, but I wanted the coating on it, and that's all they had. It's also called clothesline, okay? So it's plastic coated wire clothesline. I'm going to be using these Allen Roth shower curtain rings. I wanted the clear just because they wouldn't turn weird colors outside or, rust and that kind of thing. But they only had one and it didn't have enough. So this was the next best thing. They do claim to be anti-rust, so we'll definitely be putting them to the test being outdoors. But I got the rings because they're more secure. They're not going to come off and blow around. So I'm going to use those. And then I got some cable clamps. These little tiny things. I only need 2 of them. I just got one just in case. Who knows? One for good measure. And I'm just going to clamp the wire. All you do is take the clamp apart, fold your wire over so that you have that loop there to hang on the hook. And then I just use some needle nose pliers to tighten those little tiny things because they're pretty small. Might be hard to do with your fingers. And then I just took the rings and slid them over that loop. And then I put the loop up on the hook. So you can see how it goes all the way across. Now I have 3 poles, and so right here on this middle one, I literally just kind of looped that wire around because it's pliable. And these hooks aren't the strongest, you guys. We'll see how long this lasts. But those were ones that I could work with. Now this material is not fancy, but it was definitely strategic on my part because I wanted something for the outdoors. It's pretty wrinkled up right now. I wanted something short enough for me to be able to just kind of push it out of the way and go in there. This is a 3x10 brown gray balcony privacy screen fence. They use it for apartment railings. It's a heavy duty mesh windscreen. It says for outdoor, backyard, patio, deck, privacy, whatever. So you can use it for whatever you want. It's got the grommets in the top, so I just hung them up like a shower curtain. Now, the only thing is it's super lightweight and it comes with zip ties, but obviously I'm not zip tying it. So it's going to be flying around, moving around. Unless I put something that's weighted in the bottom. So the grommets at the bottom, I'm going to try to find something that I can hang in each of those holes to provide a little bit of weight to keep it from just blowing all over the place. Now it does slide a little bit on that clothesline because it's not totally level. So I just kind of eyeballed it, I'll be honest with you. But if I was to use rope or something like that, it would be a little bit harder for me to just easily move it back and forth. So I'm hoping that if I just put some weighted, Dad's like, what about some bait and tackle or something? Now we don't fish, so I don't really know, but I know they've got some weighted things. So I may have to look into that, but just something to hang on the bottom. And I mean, there's all kinds of big hooks and different things that I could put through those grommets to hang on the bottom, but they're like $5 to $10 a piece. So I need to find something that's more economical. That's not in the budget. The whole point of this is to provide a little bit of shade for myself when I'm working on this garden patio, and then also for the GreenStalk so that they're not just in the blistering heat 24/7. Now this isn't that high, so I don't know how much it's actually going to block, but I have a feeling that at some point during the day it will offer a little bit of a shadow. And if it does, then that's the goal. I've met my goal. Just a little bit of relief from that really strong sun and extreme heat. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. And don't forget to eat the food that you're growing before it goes bad. All right, I'll see you guys real soon in the next video. And until then, y'all have a great couple of days. Bye-bye.